Occupational disease. Good morning, students. You are starting to study the new module Occupational Diseases. According to the curriculum, we have 7 lectures and 7 practical exercises. On the educational websites, for each topic will be posted an information block, questions on the topic of the lesson. You can test yourself by solving situational problems. An answering algorithm is given, and answering test tasks. I'll give lectures and conduct practical classes on the occupational diseases module. My name is Asiya Chepurnych. I am an associate professor of the Department of Propedeutics of internal diseases. Occupational pathology, an independent section of clinical medicine that studies the issues of etiology, pathogenesis, clinic, diagnosis, treatment, prevention of disease, and health disorders arising under the influence of adverse conditions of the working environment or the labor process. Occupational pathology also studies the issues of professional suitability examination, medical and social examination, and rehabilitation for these diseases. Occupational diseases, OD, are diseases in the occurrence of which the main role belongs to the influence of adverse factors of the working environment and the labor process. Occupational disease beginning. The history of occupational pathology can be traced back to ancient times. Observation of disease and mortality among miners are described for the first time in the days of ancient Greece and Rome. George Agricola, who laid the foundation for occupational pathology as a clinical discipline. Bernardino Ramazzini, Italian physician, founder of occupational health, founder of occupational pathology. He wrote Discourse on the Diseases of Artisans, the first textbook on occupational medicine. Features of occupational pathology. Occupational pathology is the only section of clinical medicine in which a doctor can not only accurately determine the etiological factor, but also measure the strength of its action. Social aspects. The establishment of the fact of the connection between the revealed changes in the state of health of worker and the impact of professional factors often entails material compensation for the damage caused to the health of the worker. Occupational medicine is a branch of clinical medicine closely related to occupational hygiene. Without a hygienic assessment of working conditions, it is impossible to diagnose an occupational disease. I repeat, without a hygienic assessment of working conditions, it is impossible to diagnose an occupational disease. Occupational pathology has its own terminology. Occupational disease, acute, chronic. Modern ideas about occupational risk. Working conditions, work environment factor. Labor process factor. Hygienic standard. Professional road. Sanitary and hygienic characteristic. SHC of working conditions. Occupational diseases are divided into occupational diseases themselves, diseases that arise only from exposure to harmful factors and have no analogies with common diseases. Example: vibration sickness, decompression sickness, radiation sickness, pneumoconiosis. Conditionally occupational diseases. They are common diseases in the development of which occupational factors played a predominant role. Example: dust bronchitis, bronchial asthma, overvoltage diseases, allergies, oncological diseases, tuberculosis, brucellosis, foot and ENT disease, if their occurrence is due to the nature of the work performed. Acute occurs suddenly after a single, for no more than one shift, exposure to factors of the production environment or the labor process, the levels of which are higher than the permissible parameters. Chronic develops under influence of long-term systematic exposure to adverse production factors, years. The feature of chronic OD are gradual increase in the symptoms of the disease and few symptoms. A harmful factor of the working environment is a factor of the environment and the labor process, the impact of which on a worker under certain conditions, intensity, duration, etc., can cause an occupational disease. Working conditions, a set of factors of the labor process and the working environment in which human activities are carried out. Occupational risk is the probability of damage, loss of health, or death of an employee associated with the performance of duties by him/her under an employment contract. The hygienic standard is the permissible maximum or minimum indicators established by research that are harmless to humans. Maximum permissible concentration, MPC, or maximum allowable level, MAL, is such a maximum concentration of chemicals and their compounds in the environment, which, with daily exposure for a long time to the human body, does not cause pathological changes and diseases. On the slide, we can see working conditions, a set of factors of the labor process and the working environment, are divided into production environment factors and labor process factors, which in turn, severity factor, tension factor. Production environment factors turn, physical, chemical, biological. On the slide, we can see physical factors. Vibration. In the second one, we can see noise. Extreme temperatures. On the slide, we can see ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. On the slide, we can see infrared and ultraviolet radiation. In the second one, we can see chemical factors. Biological factors are viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites. Labor process factors are, firstly, severity factors, secondly, tension factors. On the slide, you can see severity factors. In the second one, tension factors. Harmful working conditions according to the degree of excess of hygienic standards and the severity of changes in the body of workers are divided into 4 classes of harmfulness. Classes of working conditions according to the degree of harmfulness. First class, optimal working conditions, no risk, no measures required. Second class, permissible working conditions, insignificant risk, no measures are required. Changes in the functional state of the body are possible, disappearing during rest. First and second classes correspond to safe working conditions. Third class, harmful working conditions in excess of hygienic standards have an adverse effect on the body of the worker. The development of an occupational disease is possible. Fourth class, hazardous extreme working conditions, more common in emergency situations, contribute to the development of acute occupational disease. Accident at work. Occupational history. A summary of the types of work performed by the employee, listing harmful factors and calculating the harmful experience. Sanitary and hygienic characteristics of working conditions. An official document complete by specialists of the Rospotrebnadzor in accordance with the decree of the Ministry of Health of the Russian Federation on improving the system for investigating and recording occupational diseases in the Russian Federation. Contains complete information about the working conditions of the employee. Etiological classification of occupational diseases. Diseases associated with the action of chemical factors. Diseases associated with the action of physical factors. Diseases associated with the action of biological factors. Diseases associated with physical overload and functional overstrain of individual organs and systems. Principles of treatment of occupational diseases. General algorithm. Antidote. Etiological treatment. Pathogenetic treatment. Symptomatic treatment. That's all. Thanks for listening. Do you have some questions?